Damn, okay, well, I've been enjoying your reviews of various games, so now you get to do it live on the broadcast as well. So there we go. We're giving everybody, it's like bring your son to work day. We're really giving people different job experiences here. But what do you think of this game that we got coming up? You were on the money last time with your prediction of the Boston Uprising. You took Zoe along as well, though she'll give credit for all of that. But I was there, I heard it was you. Are you predicting the big upset here in the Battle for Canada?
Not really. The reason I went for Boston in the last match is because they'd shown us something. They showed an ability to win some matches and really get some good maps. We still haven't seen that from the Vancouver Titans. They had a brutal June joust. They weren't even really close to capping a lot of points. So it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to keep growing. They took a map off of Boston yesterday. They did. And then Toronto went to map 5 against Mayhem. And then Boston just beat Mayhem. So theoretically, Vancouver
the pieces all add up, don't
match.
The pieces all add up. Well, let's take a look at the Toronto Defiant to start things off here. This is the starting roster that they're fielding. So whereas we would usually see Neist and Hisu being played, we have the continuation of this awesome rookie storyline with Aspire, who's just been wowing people left, right, and center. I've been so impressed.
Yeah, and there's so much talent down there in Contenders, right? And Aspire is sort of the example of that. He came in and he took it to Yaki yesterday on that Tracer, head-to-head. I don't think he got the better end of the breadstick, but at the end of the day, I think he did a phenomenal job of just going back and forth and holding his own. And if he can keep that up, today he's not against Yaki, he's going up against Dalton on that Tracer, who's no slouch, but if Aspire is going to diff someone on Tracer, I think this is the day that he can have that breakout performance and prove that he can be dominant in this league.
Well, speaking of breadsticks, here they are. It's the Vancouver Titans, starting with their common starting lineup here. The 6 players that are always fielded for the Titans. And I want to talk to you a little bit before we get into the breadsticks discussion. The Vancouver Titans on Instagram posted their 3 keys to the game. I'm going to run you past these just to see if the strategy seems like it's on point. Number 1, keep Neist under control. What do you think about that?
He's not in the starting 6, so I'm sure they're going to do a great job of that in the first map.
Okay, number 2, stick to our game plan with no hero bans.
Yeah, well, if their game plan is good, I hope it works out. You know, if they're smart, right, and they just learned from the previous match, just slow it down. If they can slow down the game, stop Sato and Hisu and Aspire from just sort of playing aggressive and taking over, I think they can do it.
Okay, and number 3, focus on getting the opening pick. That's what they're going for here. That which kind of goes counter to the play slowly, but, you know, it's them that are coming up with these rules, not you.
Yeah, well, you know, get the first pick in a game of Overwatch is usually a good strategy for anyone. So, you know, I think that's always a bold one. We're heading over to Oasis, though, which is a pretty interesting map because I think you can go Brawl or you can play this dive style. So I'm really interested to see what Vancouver Titans come out for in this first map.
Well, this is the Battle for Canada as well, and it's going to be kicking off on Oasis, like you're saying, Custer. The last time that these two teams played was all the way back in Week 1. The Toronto Defiant were able to come out 3-1 there. The only map that the Vancouver Titans were able to steal away from the Toronto Defiant was Watchpoint Gibraltar, once we actually made it into Escort, which isn't coming up today. That's not a map that we've got on the docket. Instead, we're going to be moving over to Route 66. So, what's the chances here? What's the chances for Vancouver? Like you said, there's theory, right? Because they were able to do well yesterday against Boston.
It seems like they are starting to sort of gel together. Obviously, Chung-Sik sort of got thrown in the June Joust, but I think they've been growing a lot in this sort of break that they were given, and they seem to understand this meta, at least how they want to play it. They are diversifying themselves a lot. They're playing a lot of different compositions, but I think today is the time I want to see them consolidate on some things. You know what Toronto's going to run. It's pretty simple. They're cut and dry. Vancouver needs to step up and play their style.
Well, Toronto are running the same kind of compositions that they had success with in their 5th map against the Florida Mayhem. It's the Reinhardt comps. They looked so much more dynamic when they were playing those and instantly trying to get aggressive. Sato, he finds that first pick. They take a lot of damage and the Immortality fields are traded. Fire looking for a boot but can't quite manage it. There goes Ansun J though, so Lucio down. I'm not sure that's going to be enough to steal things back in the favor of the Vancouver Titans, but that boop, that finds Michelle. He goes into the drink and Aspires on a bit of a flank here. If he can get work done, maybe he tips things back into the balance, but it looks like Vancouver have taken that crucial opening team fight.
Going against their plans for success of the day, they didn't get the first pick, but they had that positioning on the high ground, right? And that's what's important. they got that positioning, they held the high ground, and Toronto just couldn't match it after that, even though it was 6v5. So great decision making by Vancouver to hold their ground, keep their positioning, and get the picks. And now they have that ultimate advantage, right? They have the high ground and rules coming up to this amplification matrix right here.
Yeah, very early on. You often see Amp Matrix paired with a Deadeye as well to try and stop anybody who's coming in. Good defensive wall, though, as well from Hisu. That just slows down everything as the Toronto Defiant are able to back off. And now Lastro has got up to his Amp Matrix too. So they can wait out this one from Rolf, try and kite a little, and push back in. Here we go. There goes Lastro, pops it up. Good wall again from Lixer. And Dalton's going to try and stop them. There it is. Hansun J once again falls. This time to a Deadeye. Very nicely played by Dalton. And now they're going to have to dodge Aspire. Aspire doesn't find anything, but Sado picks off Changsik. Bit of an MTD there, and Sado now has that Shadow to work with if required. But Aspire has been going for this flank constantly, and this time it does get value.
Yeah, just a little bit of a disconnect there, I think. When they were holding the high ground, they were doing great, and they got that pick onto Unsunjay. But unfortunately, their front line and their back line sort of had this, disagreement of what they wanted to do, and they get, split by the wall, and Vancouver essentially goes on default. We're coming in for the big ult fight here, though, now, right? Both teams have their shatters, both people coming up on this sound barrier. It's going to be interesting to see who goes first, because that's usually the big thing when you have these May v May and Reinhardt v Reinhardt. Who's going to drop it and who's going to get more value from their ultimates?
There's a shatter, blocked I think by a wall, and Michelle eats the Blizzard up as well. So two big ultimates used for the Vancouver Titans without getting any value in return. And Hisu, he frees his people up, which sets up Dalton to get whacked to the ground. Sado finding value out of that Earth Shatter. They pick off Linkser, who was left high and dry alone without the help of the rest of his teammates. The Toronto Defiant dealt with those ultimates superbly.
Well, yeah, but I also think that was ambitious, to say the least, from Changsik. Just jumping around the corner and shattering is more of a shatter I would go for than anything. And I think that he's just walking into this wall and this shatter and window by Lastro. So I think Vancouver needs to come in with a better plan. And I don't think walking it down main here is really going to give them that advantage. How do they get space? How are they going to move forward on this? They're just going to drop the high noon in the window? That might not be enough to get this win. Oh, great flank by the Toronto Defiant, really getting into the back line of the Vancouver Titans and flipping them over.
Wall there as well stops Dalton from being able to zone them off. What is that pin? Sado coming flying out of nowhere, pins Chansek like a pancake to the wall, and the rest of Toronto are so much more dynamic here. Having said that, Lastro's fall and the Immortality Field died just before the self-destruct came out, so Vancouver have an opportunity to turn this one. Sado falls, Aspire in the middle of the point, desperately trying to get work done, but as Vancouver Titans solidify their position on the point, this should be an opportunity to flip, and there was no time like it. At 95% for the Toronto Defiant, that was last chance territory.
Yeah, and you can see neither team has an ultimate to stand by. That was literally just an absolute brawl. Whoever could get the picks was going to win that. And this fight is going to be really interesting because nobody's coming in with ultimates at this point, right? So it's going to be about who can get that positioning and that engagement, because we're in last fight territory. By the time this fight starts, we're at 80%, and that's the last fight. So we're going to see a lot of ultimates coming online, and it's going to be a very dynamic team fight as teams try and sort of vie for positioning. Vancouver Titans in a great spot to take this.
Lynx has got to have the advantage in terms of popping down that Blizzard. Eyes on both of the D.Va players.
Another
there
great wall
as well. That separates people. Another good wall from Hisu, though, often being used defensively to try and stop it. Woof. I don't know whether Aspire got behind the wall there or whether that was the defense matrix of Michelle, but either way, they dodged something. And the Toronto Defiant, they're going to have to come back in here at 90% for both teams. And Matrix is traded as well, looking to see whether there's an opportunity for the Blizzard to be used. Dalton taken down, Samurai used. Anson J does not have one to respond with, but there goes Sado. What a shatter on the other side as well. It catches Hisu. The Blizzard, though, freezing everybody up. And it's such a better Blizzard coming out from the Toronto Defiant. At the last moment, the Vancouver Titans are getting swept off the field, and that's going to be it for Toronto.
Just much better tempered play from Toronto Defiant. Vancouver, you can sort of see a panic there almost, just throwing every ultimate they had. They dropped a sound barrier, a blizzard, and a shatter, all on the same target on Hisu, and they just didn't have any other legs to sort of close out that fight. So great job by Toronto, playing it slow, not rushing into the point, feeling like they needed to get onto that capture point.
Yeah, they were able to bait out some of the ultimates and then recontest when they only had 20 seconds to be able to do the entire team fight. That takes some composure to be able to work that. But at the end of the day, Custer, that was still a really close round. There's no way you can write off either of these teams yet. This is one of the rare occurrences of a true battle for Canada if it carries on like this.
Yeah, we haven't really seen as much competition in these battles for the North historically. But now we go on to this city center, on Oasis, and both teams are opting for the Winston Anna style. So we're going to see more of the dive as Hisu versus Linkser on the Sombra matchup. I think that's the one to look out for in this match.
Hisu historically has been much better on that role. Star player for the Philadelphia Fusion last year when he was able to play it. Linkser's been bionaded there. The bionade on the other hand catching on to Sado. But it's Hisu who gets taken down. His Translocator must have been absent in that scenario because the rest of Toronto are going to fall with him. Vancouver getting a much better engage off the back of that. Perhaps aided a little by the bionade coming out early onto Sado, stopping him from taking position.
Yeah, that was a great bionade by Rolf there, and once again, Vancouver Titans get the positioning, right? They are the ones that are playing more aggressive, controlling that space, and then that forced Toronto into that small room where they just got cleaved down, and Hisu goes aggressive trying to counter that and falls. So now we go into the second round, and Vancouver Titans, with the ultimate advantage, they're going to be coming up first, but Lastro leading on that nano charge.
My eyes peeled on both of these traces as well because they can cause havoc at the beginning of these fights. It's Linkser that goes down first this time. In both occurrences, it's been the Sombra and then a big bionade into the back line, this time from Rolf. I mean, again from Rolf, actually. But this time it catches on Ansun J and Lastro. It gives the Vancouver Titans an opportunity to try and respond here. If Dalton could land a sneaky little pulse bomb off on the flank, they could easily clean this one up. Oh, he weaves his way past the defense matrix from Michelle, and he's able to deal with Sado, taking the main tank out and continuing this momentum that they've got. This is 2 team fights now, and neither team has EMP, by the way.
Yeah, no one's getting ult charge very quickly as well. Lastro still doesn't even have his nano. But I also think Dalton is the person to look out for. He is the unsung hero of the Vancouver Titans, just being so good on that tracer. And I think Dalton has to step up if the Vancouver Titans are going to get the win. He's going against the rookie and Aspire. He can get that edge. Vancouver Titans can really go far. But Rolf down first.
Yeah, there's a hack, a bionade absolutely destroyed. And I mean, the nano boost as well applied onto Sado, flattened completely. Vancouver Titans, they tried to utilize their own nano boost, but it just gets no value whatsoever. Toronto managed to flip that with only a single ultimate. That's quite rare when it comes to City Center. This is a big contestable objective.
I would love to know how Rolf managed to go down that early with just a nano Winston. I feel like they should have been more prepared for that. Now Toronto's in such a great spot. They have 5 ultimates that they can use at their pleasure. I think Ansunjay needs to be the person. Get that rally off before Linkser hits that big EMP, or just spread out. You can see the Toronto Defiant team here right now. They are all over the place. They know the win condition. Oh, actually, they're going first. Toronto Defiant with Hisu goes for the early EMP. They run it down. That is a great heads-up play by the Toronto Defiant. They're going to win this fight with just 1 ultimate, and that's another 20% they add to the clock.
That's the killer instinct that was really missing from Toronto when they played against the Florida Mayhem. They did still manage to drag that out in a 5-map series, but overall they were really lacking the go button a lot of the time. They continue momentum here as well and feed a lot of ult back into Lastro, so they're going to have a nano boost available if this is a longer team fight. But now it puts the pressure on Linkser. They've got to have a good response. And like you said, the mind games between Linkser and Ansun J. They're trying to peel Sado away at the moment, though. He's the player that's come in. There's Linkser, he falls. The rally got popped as well. Ansun J not even caught in the middle of that EMP, and that is going to be a disastrous attempt at coming back in from the Titans.
I was going to say that as that was starting. I was like, Vancouver Titans need to play smart and tempered. They can't just try and force their EMP, but you saw them do it there. They popped their rally just a little bit too early from fire. That makes Linkser feel like he has to force that EMP. Forces it and just goes down, unable to get any value. Great positioning by Toronto, but now Vancouver Titans, they have to hope for some heroics if they're going to win this team fight.
It's one of those brutal scenarios under control. If you manage to flip the point, it doesn't matter if the opposing team has 81%. If you have the better ult economy and you can cycle it, you're going to end up with the win. And for the first time in this round, Toronto Defiant, they take the lead. 88% for them and a nano Winston into the backlines. Fire dies. Michelle takes credit, but it's Sado making all of this space. Damage onto the backline again onto Rolf, and Hisu cleans it up. A sleep dart and a self-destruct, and not exactly the present that Sado was looking for, being dropped at his lap. But that does turn things into a potentially winnable scenario for Vancouver. And again, it's your unsung hero of Dalton who's desperately trying to make things work. Was that the Translocator he just took out? It was, but Aspire turns it around on him with the help of Hisu, who pops the EMP for no avail. But nevertheless, the Toronto Defiant are getting work done. It's Aspire who's managing to find picks left, right, center, takes down Dalton, FRD falls, and it's Linkser. You couldn't get less of a rookie than Linkser. The Nano Cowboy giving us echoes back to 2016. The Electric Cowboy coming in, and he truly is electric.
Oh my, Lynx are coming in clutch, showing why he is known as one of the great hit scans through the history of time in Overwatch. Back against the wall, gets the nano from Rolf of all people and shuts it down. That is great play. Vancouver Titans playing very smart, not just rushing the point, sticking to their guns, playing around the ultimates and getting that space. So now they have to hold, right? They have the high noon, they have the positioning. How are they going to utilize this?
The Titans are definitely favored in this engagement. There it is, Linksa with the speed, with the Deadeye, drops down, breaks the bubble with the first one, and then takes down Aspire with the second. Now that's so much responsibility in Sado's hands to get value out of this Primal, but the flash misses, and Sado is not stopped in his tracks. Instead, he forges a path forwards. Rolf doing his best, gets the sleep down on Sado and the Bionade, and Vancouver Titans, they take him down, but Rolf gives his life for it. This is still anybody's game. What a stick! Dalton doing work in the back, and Sunjay and Lastro fall, and Toronto, they look like they're falling with them. Unless Michelle can do magic with this, the Vancouver Titans have taken a map that looked like it was gonna be a loss for them and turned it on a dime. Fire going for an ult there that only catches onto himself and FRD. This isn't a done deal yet. It's losable for sure, but surely they have an advantage.
Pandemonium, as Bren would say, just sort of keeping us with the times. Brightwinnie hits a double self-destruct kill as they're trying to consolidate on this point. Vancouver Titans playing very smart, playing together. They know the only way they lose this is if they split up and they capture that point. This is going to be an absolute barn burner, Josh. This is going back and forth to the wire for the third round on Oasis.
Well, go and get your animals out the stable because they're burning barns in here. The Vancouver Titans managing to steal that one away, and we're going over to a very Reinhardt-centric map. This is where Sado got the better end of Chansik, in my opinion. Chansik is a player that, honestly, is pretty inexperienced in recent history. Like we were saying the last time we were casting the Vancouver Titans, not particularly me and Buster over here, but me and another co-caster, that Chansik has been absent from competitive play for 2 years. They did look good when they were on those Rhine compositions, but up against Sado, a player that's been to the grand finals in his rookie year, that's a tough ask.
And that's the thing, right? Chansik has been sort of thrown into the fire on this team, and now he's performing against some of the best we have in the business. But we see the Doomfist coming out from Aspire for the Toronto Defiant. He needs to get high value out of this Doomfist in the next few seconds because the May and Reaper are going to get value. And Dalton falls first to the Symmetra of Hisu, just that positioning with that Symmetra just coming out aces for the Toronto Defiant.
Chansik knocked to the floor as well. He is absolutely going to get bullied by this Reinhardt and Symmetra. One blazing his shield down and the other punching him to knock him to the floor. Sado with so many more options, honestly. Even though he could get separated from his team by the May, it's just so much rougher to play if you're the Titans.
I think you need to see something change for the Vancouver Titans. I think trying to enter onto this point against a Symmetra Doomfist is going to be an uphill battle. They're going to have to hope for some ridiculous wall by Linksa to give them the advantage. On Toronto Defiant is going to go first, going aggressive with Sado with that Earth Shatter. Is he going to drop it? Oh, Spy goes down first. And there we go. Sado needs to do some absolute heroics and hits a big shatter, gets the 2K. And absolutely brings Toronto Defiant back from the brink of losing that team fight.
That is a fatty one, just as that Immortality field was dropping as well. Aspire dropped to the floor, but thankfully Sado was there to pick up the pieces. It gets Toronto Defiant across the line of 40%. It's not like they have a huge amount of ults to be able to work with, but neither do the Titans. Oof, this is going to get sticky.
It was expensive for the Toronto Defiant, so now they have to hope they can get ults on because Vancouver is coming onto a wealth of ultimates right here. So they just need to play smart around the May. They can't get walled and they need to find a Spire window, but gets absolutely destroyed by Fried Wayne.
Sado and Chansik knock each other to the floor. Different abilities keeping each other alive, but there's a better beat coming out from Vancouver as they swarm ahead. The Blizzard as well, catching people. Gravitic Flux too. They're throwing everything into this. The Death Blossom to just finish it off. They were absolutely determined to take this point, even if it cost them the entire bank.
I can't blame them. If their back's against the wall, they lose that team fight, there's no coming back. You got to throw everything and the kitchen sink at it. But now, we need to move forward from this, right? Chansik has that Earth Shatter. It's all they've got going for them. And Aspire has that get out of jail free card with the Doomfist ultimate. How are they going to stop this sheer amount of aggression coming from Toronto Defiant, even as we see Hisu move over to the Reaper?
Aspire with that ultimate. Rolf surely getting into position to use his Amp Matrix defensively here as well. That's something that Aspire has to watch out for. He's already been caught early on. There's a Shadow, doesn't really catch on to anybody. And now they're taking the fight outside of the line of sight of the Amp Matrix. That's not really going to help the Vancouver Titans. Early Immortality Field force, and Aspire's just having a free reign in this close quarters environment. Dodges the accretion as well, gets back to the point, and the Vancouver Titans have fallen. That seems like a bit of a mistake to me.
Yeah, that felt like Vancouver sort of pushed themselves into a corner against a Doomfist. The one thing you don't want to do is walk into a small corridor, but that's what they did. They backed into that mini room, and then there was no going back from there. Toronto Defiant just outlasting the Special Aspire with a phenomenal ultimate just coming down, putting out so much damage. So now, Vancouver Titans have nothing in the bank. They have to run it down. Oh, but Toronto's going first.
Toronto looking to engage early on here. Ansung J way ahead of Fire. When it comes to that, that's a great eat. I'm not even sure whether it was deliberate, honestly. I think Michelle was just putting up the defense matrix to try and heal Aspire. Oh, sorry, to save Sado, I should say, as Aspire. Those two are not even related. I don't know how my brain came up with that one. But yeah, Toronto Defiant, nevertheless, they are just wiping the floor here.
Just the aggression from Toronto Defiant is giving them this edge over Vancouver Titans. Every time I say that Vancouver has to go first, Toronto's already going. They're catching the Vancouver Titans flat-footed, especially with that May, and it's coming up. You know, it's paying dividends right now for them. So big plays by the Toronto Defiant, but this is very back and forth. Vancouver Titans are only a couple of little things and team fights away from taking this map.
And remember that the Vancouver Titans have yet to post their first win of the season on the board. It would be monumental if they were able to do it, especially in this battle for the North. But it's Toronto who take the early lead here, looking very proactive when it came to the right-hand compositions. Is this going to continue in similar close fashion, or is Toronto Defiant going to end up running away with it and delivering the Titans their 10th loss in a row for this season? There's only one way to find out. You'll have to tune in after this next break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League, and by IBM, the official cloud and AI partner of the Overwatch League.
Treadlock now into the backline and gets with the both support.
Over the top, gets a double!
And here's a coalescence from the high ground for Rolf, and wow, the timing on that one looks so good.
Really.
Fielded and fire gets two! That is crazy! Time and a great stick from Dal. That's three from him!
That's crazy, they make it work!
Welcome back from the break. The Toronto Defiant are up 1-0 in this series so far, with the Vancouver Titans still looking like they are competitive overall. And as we take a look at both of these teams here, we're going to have a look at our Indeed player resume, as we have a look at one of the most storied players, honestly, that is still getting playtime in the Overwatch League. Linksa has been involved in Overwatch since the very dawn of time itself. As you said earlier, Custer, the history of time.
Where there is Overwatch, there is Linksa, essentially, is his story, because he's been hailed as, you know, Finland's greatest gift to esports historically. He's been phenomenal throughout his career, just being one of the greatest hit scans that we had way back in 2016. Even, you know, I played against him a bunch in 2018 and 2019. He just some days he just knows how to show up, and he just absolutely takes over the game, and they're gonna need that from him, you know, moving into this Icon World map, because he was good on the Mei, but I would rather see him on something that he can start clicking on heads, get him on that McCree, because the Mei doesn't seem to be working.
Yeah, it's not that Linksa is bad on the Mei, it's just that he isn't really getting value because the team competition isn't working. Linksa as well, it's like, people always bring up the narrative of Linksa being a very streaky player. Some days he's excellent, some days he's not there. It's been a long time, though, since we've seen Linksa firing on all cylinders, even for a day or a match or something like that. Having said that, though, he was involved in the Widowmaker 1v1. You just saw it on his resume that he was able to actually win in 2020. He came out on top of all the other Western Widowmakers. So the guy's still got it on a mechanical level. It's just whether or not he can bring it on in the match itself.
Yeah, I don't think Linksa has ever been doubted for his mechanical ability. He's always been great. I think he's one of those players that gets heavily in his own head, though, about his performance and about his ability. If he is playing with confidence, that's when you see him really start firing up. In 2018, he was considered one of the dominant Widowmakers early on in that season, but as you said, since then, it's just been an absolute roller coaster of emotions if you've been a Linksa fan, because he, you know, I think it was last year, he tweeted out, "Don't be upset that I'm not playing, I just don't believe in myself." And that is a problem fundamentally as a player.
Well, he's been getting a lot of playtime, but when you take a look at our map leaderboard presented by Xfinity, if you're getting time set like that against you, it's a very good reason why you might have a bit of a knock to your mentality as well. The Vancouver Titans have been the punching bag, honestly, of North America. They're 0-9. It's similar to the London Spitfire, but it's important in those scenarios to keep your head in the game, and it does feel like Vancouver Titans are still in this match for sure. They haven't given up on their season yet. They haven't given up on this match by any means. This is an important one. It's one for pride, not only to get your first win on the leaderboard, but also to be able to beat your rivals up in Canada as well. And blow it all, we want some darn breadsticks.
Yeah. If there was ever going to be a map for an environmental kill, Eichenwald is one of them. Let's just let them push. We'll let them push to the bridge, and then we'll let fire loose, okay? We'll save him up a sound barrier, and he'll just run it down mid and go for some boobs.
I'll tell you what as well, it's also a good one for some flank Deadeye kills. If they get a Deadeye triple elimination, that's where Dalton could be pushing. You know, you lure them onto the bridge, you flank up on the high ground behind them, Deadeye, maybe an Amp Matrix to set it up. I'm not saying they should play for breadsticks, but if the win condition happens to also be on the bingo card, go for it.
I'm saying they should play for breadsticks. You might not be, but I definitely am. So it's interesting, though, moving forward, we see Vancouver Titans, they're sticking with the same composition that we saw from them. They seem to heavily want to favor Linksa on this Mei and Chungsik on this Rhine, which I don't completely agree with, but if this is what they feel comfortable on, they need to stick to it. But here comes that Toronto Defiant speed rush with the Lucio Moira that everyone has been so terrified of.
Yeah, Toronto didn't play too much of it in their game against the Florida Mayhem. They swapped to it slightly towards the end of Gibraltar. It did inject more pace into their game, which was one of the things that we were concerned about when we were casting that series. And Toronto are just feeling them out at the moment. They're looking for an opportunity to engage, but they've got decent positioning, and Sado goes deep. 30% towards his ult already. That's a testament to how much damage he's doing, but that is a lovely flash and a kill. Headshot, Immortality Field used, and Dalton secures that first pick. That is crucial. The third part to their win conditions, the keys to victory today. Get the first pick.
That always helps in Overwatch, but I love the disengage from the Vancouver Titans. You can tell they were ready for that. As soon as Sado jumped, they disengaged the same way. They didn't even have to use the lamp, I don't believe, so that is just great play. And from here, it gets easier, right? They have the Amp Matrix, they have the High Noon. This next fight should be easy. What they have to start banking for is Fire needs to get that sound barrier because Hisu's EMP is a-coming. And if they don't have the defensive tools to deal with that, they're going to get run over. And Lastro also in this fight coming up to that coalescence.
Yeah, because Toronto Defiant are running a fast composition though, Hisu hasn't had as many opportunities to just AFK and build his ultimate. Nice boot from Fire to deny Sado, and that pushes him back into the line of sight of Dalton through an Amp Matrix. Great work dealing with that initial dive from the Toronto Defiant. The Titans do definitely look prepared for these.
I question Sado. He did the exact same jump last time, the exact same thing happened. They're disengaging in a different direction. They're moving towards that broken down tank instead of backing towards the back of the point. So Sado needs to be playing more tempered and more controlled rather than just jumping in and hoping for gold.
Well, he can just walk at them this time because they're going to have a coalescence. He dives anyway, though. Why not? He's in deep. That's the shatter. Doesn't quite catch anybody, and instead this coalescence is just ripping through them. Hisu coming through with a couple of picks, but he hasn't even had to use his EMP in that scenario. Normally, you would try and see an EMP combo with a coalescence. They didn't have it online for the beginning. They didn't need it either. And now it's on Vancouver to try and see if they can engineer a way back into this. But as Linksa falls, it's looking hard.
And that's the strength of Moira right there. You saw it. That coalescence is just such a strong ultimate to be able to get you into the fight. They use it, they get a ton of damage and keep Sado alive. They don't have to use a single other ultimate, and the backline for the Vancouver Titans fall. But as we go on to this next one, as I was talking about, Hisu with that EMP, Vancouver Titans have to be very careful when they jump down from this ledge because Hisu's going to be waiting for them, and Fire can't get caught by this EMP.
Hisu is already up on the high ground waiting for them. He's just dropped down. Ooh, teleports back away. He's got a translocator sat behind the rest of his team. But in the meantime, the rest of the Toronto Defiant want to fight. So dangerous for Sado to go that deep against a player with a Deadeye. But instead, he jumps away and Dalton gets very little value fighting against a sound barrier. But Toronto have used their main tools to get through the choke point. It now becomes a question of where Hisu is and whether he decides to use this EMP. He's set up to go for something, maybe with that. Oh, the bomb just gets blocked by the wall.
And they're going to win this fight. The EMP comes out late from Hisu to just sort of put that exclamation point on the end of it. And Toronto should win this fight. There's no way they're going to get pushed away. Vancouver Titans doing an incredible job, especially Fire with that beat, keeping everyone alive from the EMP, and that is such an important hold right there because now Toronto Defiant lacking ultimates. They're going to have to lean back onto that Moira to give them that advantage, but Vancouver Titans have all the space in the world standing on top of this tower.
They have control of the world. And Linksa with an ultimate to be able to drop down at any point. The Lastro Coalescence is the only thing they have to be concerned about, but they can only really get value out of that when Vancouver Titans have dropped and committed anyway. And you've got to imagine that that'll come with a Blizzard in tow. Here we go, Vancouver dropping from the high ground, Dalton staying up top as well, ready to get use out of that. There it is, Deadeye from above, and followed up by the Blizzard as well, just zoning away the Toronto Defiant, isolating Aspire, getting the pick on the rookie player, and stopping Lastro from getting any value from the core.
I really actually like that Blizzard by Linksa. As much as it feels like, oh yeah, maybe it was a waste, I think it was necessary. But here we have a flanking Moira from Lastro along with Sado coming into the backline and giving him a ton of space. Is this going to pay off? Because if it doesn't pay off, this is a 30-second gamble right here from the Toronto Defiant, and that's what's going to happen. And that's giving ultimates back to the Titans, right? And we just talked about how they had to use a lot of ultimates to hold that, and now they're starting to get them back, and Toronto's wasting even more time.
Perhaps Sado was hoping he would get up to his primal rage and be able to stall for the spawners to come in. But now Toronto have to path through the castle. They're going to be pushing into an Amp Matrix here. It's important that Vancouver readjust their positioning as well. But it looks like they just want to fall on them with an Earth Shatter perhaps. The wall goes down. Fire is hacked in the backlines as well. And Wolf, he gets value. Oh, there we go. With Sado out of the picture, there's now no bubble. Where's the shatter? You've got to feel like it's coming at some point here. The objective is getting moved as well. Hisu's getting close to the CMP. If Vancouver Titans don't close out the fight early, then Toronto might have a way back in.
You have to, like, that was a great wall by Linksa splitting the team, but Toronto Defiant just don't look like they're in sync at all. Sato comes in, drops the Primal Rage, and is unable to be assisted by the rest of his team. Gets absolutely wasted, goes down, and that's just a reset right there, and now they're attacking from the low ground again. Toronto Defiant don't have an answer to what the Vancouver Titans are doing right now.
But there's a shatter really early on. Only catches onto Michelle. The boop as well. Nope. Sato, he's safe down on the low ground, just dodging away from that blizzard as the rest of the Toronto Defiant surge forward. Lastro not even deciding to use his Coalescence in the midst of that. And the EMP. I thought EMP Coalescence would be the win condition there, but they've managed to save it for Checkpoint B.
And now you're in trouble if you're the Vancouver Titans. You only have a high noon, Dalton doesn't have any positioning, and you're walking into that EMP. I would love to see Toronto try and hold this and just win this with the Coalescence, but I also want to see them go early. You cannot let Vancouver Titans out of this door right now.
Well, they've let them out, and here we go. This is an opportunity for Fire to get boops, for people to get hacks, a Deadeye flank perhaps as well. Immortality Field ends up going down really early on. EMP is still available at all times here. The sound barriers come out. Where is Hisu? Where is this EMP? Why are they letting Fire? Why are they letting Fire get value? Here comes the EMP incredibly late after all of the sound barrier has already died off. And even though Toronto Defiant look like they're getting value in this team fight, it's still so dangerous. Rolf popped his... They've popped Blizzard as well to try and deal with this. That's a crazy ult fight.
I said I wanted Hisu to save the EMP, not for that long. If they weren't getting that value as soon as Vancouver Titans get out that door, we're still seeing a bit of a brawl, but this is just staggering coming in from the Vancouver Titans. I actually really dislike this from the Titans. I would have preferred to see them reset at this point. They're not going to win this fight, but all of a sudden they're given a ton of ultimates back to the Toronto Defiant, and they're never going to win this fight. They even switched to the Symmetra. Look at their ult economy right now, Josh. Oof. They're in shambles.
Absolute shambles. They've fed Lastro another Coalescence, and Hisu's at 35% to another EMP. I feel like Hisu was... oh my word. Vancouver going to an incredible bunker composition here. But the problem with this is that the Coalescence still just rips through barriers. Changstick can pop his Fortify, sure, but what do the other people do? It's not like they can take refuge behind the Orisa shield.
And now that we're just going to see an engagement from the Toronto Defiant with this Coalescence, and I don't know how Vancouver Titans deal with this. Look, this is just the world's easiest dive. They have nothing to do with it. The backline goes down. Rolf first, then Dalton, then Fire. There's nothing holding them on into this fight. They need to be pushing the car right now. If you're the Toronto Defiant, though, you need to start moving forward because respawners are coming hard and fast.
They certainly are, but they have ultimates to be able to deal with it. Hisu moving over to the Doomfist as he comes back off the spawn. They got Sato's Primal Rage and a Sound Barrier to keep them active. Who can be the playmaker here for for Vancouver? Who can try to get them back in the fight? Linksa making a swap over to Tracer as well, as Toronto Defiant utilizes Sound Barrier to take space across the fight. Sato with the Primal, isolating Dalton and managing to take him down. Now he's going to return and help the rest of his team. He takes out Fire as well. Rolf getting pushed back into the spawn. And this is going to be Toronto. Can they take them to overtime, though? It could end up being crucial. And they can't. It's 6.9. Nice for Defiant. Bad for Titans.
Yeah, that's rough from the Vancouver Titans, and that goes back to what I said at the end of that second point. I think that was ill-advised to really try and make that win. Obviously, when you're that close to holding on that second point, you really want to go for it. But what did it cost them? Absolutely everything. Overtime now, they have 6.9 seconds left for Toronto. Now Vancouver Titans have to finish this map with time to really start giving themselves, an edge back into this map.
That's going to be a tough ask, I feel. And the compositional swaps that we've seen so far in this series have been interesting, to say the least. What do you think the Titans should be going for here when they're attacking? If you know that the Toronto Defiant are leaning more into the Winston-based compositions, with Tracer, with Sombra, do you think Titans are better off trying to increase the tempo and play faster than them, or slow it down and play more reactively with Linksa on McCree or Dalton on McCree, for example?
I think I would love to see Dalton on the Reaper, and I think that's going to be super important. I think the issue they're having right now is they're getting split up in these team fights. If they can just deathball and really start punishing Sato for going aggressive, then they're going to be in a great spot, especially with the amount of healing. If Hisu's going to play Sombra, that's not a lot of damage, and if you can play around those EMPs, you can shut down the style that the Toronto Defiant are trying to play. Or, we actually just saw it in the Boston match, they can slow it down a lot. They can go the Torbjorn, they can make it so that they're impossible to be dove and give themselves an advantage that way.
Titans are just checking things out, looking to scout, see what the composition looks like on defense for Defiant. Dalton waits a little bit, and he's gonna go for the Tracer. I'm not sure I understand this pick, to be honest. It's part of a wholesale compositional swap. So they're playing a bit of a peel-oriented dive. So they're definitely playing a slower composition than the Defiant, built around Lynx's McCree. But they also have opportunities for counter-attacks with Changsik and Dalton going on some counter dives.
Yeah, with the McCree, you want to play a little bit slower because you have that range damage. You're forcing Toronto to go because you have that McCree. You're putting out constant damage. And if you can control Hisu, Lynx can get a lot of value, but they need to be careful. If Toronto can get great hacks, it's going to be a problem for them.
So far, Hisu with no neutral hacks in the middle of this engagement. Lynx are doing a decent amount of damage, but that's only just been fed into Lastro's ult charge. Lastro up to a nano boost already in this engagement, but Sado, he's been bionated. The Lastro's ult wouldn't even save him. They couldn't finish off Sado, utilizing line of sight perfectly there, and he goes back in with a nano boost, gets that extra 250 health, and then mowing down the Titans. These kind of fights, they just hang on a wire. They can flip on a dime.
I love the adjustment by Toronto, though. They recognize their win condition. They knew they couldn't go early with the McCree from Lynxa, so they play it a little bit slow. Yes, it was on a very fine razor edge of Sado with 1 health, but they re-engage with that nano and get that team fight win. Now Hisu has that EMP. How do you play around this if you're the Vancouver Titans? You just can't walk forward right now.
Something I'm concerned about, though, is that Hisu has not been using these particularly proactively. You can see his outline there to the top right of your screen, gets forced out by Fried, good work by him, and Dalton's going hunting. They know that Hisu has not laid down another Translocator. Gets eliminated there, and now Hisu's an available target for them to try and pressure. The Toronto ult bank, though, is so large. There's a pulse bomb, takes down Lynxa. The counter is good, though. Ansun J hits the deck, but unfortunately Aspire is just running all over them. The backline is dead completely. Toronto didn't really have to use any ults for it either. Oh,
couple of bags thrown there.
Oh, outrageous.
Taking a lesson from yesterday from Yaki, realizing that teabagging the opponent is the best way forward. So great play by Aspire, really stepping up on that one. But you saw Hisu, the fear of the EMP is almost better than the EMP. Vancouver's playing so slow, being afraid of this, and Hisu's just never even used it. Now they have another nano up on Lastro, and they're going to be able to play aggressive. And Lynx is caught. Ooh. Almost gets
Lynx has moved over to McCree, moved away from McCree to the Sombra now as well, in an attempt to inject a little more pace into their game, perhaps. Here's Changsik deep into the backline, but Ansun J popping the rally, sleep dart as well, and this entire push for the Titans, it's just gone. Hisu as well has picked off their backline in a bit of a counter dive attempt. And this is brutal to watch if you're a Titans fan, if you're hoping for the map 5 for breadsticks for the first win of the season. They looked so competitive in map 1, and now they're struggling so hard.
That cost them rally and nano. Those are two very important ultimates coming into this point. They need the rally to deal with the nano Winston, and they need the nano to get their Winston in. Oh,
good
don't
hack.
Get to Spire, though. That's an important pick right there. Great EMP there comes back from Hisu. Can the team capitalize on it? That is the question. Sato's actually 1 health. Great play by the Vancouver Titans. Without the ultimates that I was saying so important, they managed to pull the team fight away from nothing, with Dalton getting an amazing pick onto Aspire.
Ansun J was actually nano boosted in the middle of all of that as well for the Toronto Defiant to try and hold on. They might be looking for another contest here. It would be kind of crazy to go for it, but there you go, Aspire's in. He actually manages to land a pulse bomb onto Fire, still pulls off the recall as well to get him out to safety. Not safe enough though, because Dalton finds his counterpart over on the Toronto Defiant. A hack onto Michelle as well turns him into a giant walking dumpling, and as the self-destruct gets popped over from Fried Wiener, it just doesn't feel like the Vancouver Titans are going to be able to hold on. The Toronto Defiant have got so much space in. They're so close to being able to cap 3%, but it's heartbreak. Absolute heartbreak for Vancouver. And once more, the rookie Aspire getting it done. That early pick there was so crucial.
Those are the big plays that we expect from your Prophets, from your Fletters, from all of the best that we have in the business. And Aspire comes in and does it himself, making another reason why he should be picked up full-time, not for Toronto Defiant if they don't want him, for anyone, because this guy is absolutely killing it. He is an aspiration for any Contenders player right now because he's proving that he can take it to the best in the business.
He absolutely is, and you know, he's been giving the bag to his opponents for sure, but he's out here looking to get the bag himself, and I think you want to throw it at him. You absolutely want to throw it at him. Give him the bag, give him the bread. It's all deserved, well deserved. The Toronto Defiant, they take a 2-0 lead in this series. Can the Vancouver Titans hang on, or is this going to be another sorry story when it comes to the battle for Canada? Again, we will see you after the break to find out.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. And by Xfinity, the preferred internet provider of the Overwatch League.
beautiful outside, and that's because the summer solstice is upon us. We have loved getting to see some of your awesome artistic creations this season on the Fan Art Gallery by Coca-Cola. For the Summer Showdown, submit your summer-themed art celebrating Overwatch League and Coca-Cola for a chance to be featured. And you can submit that art at overwatchleague.com/art-gallery. That link at the bottom left-hand side. So if you've got any ideas for summer-themed art with Overwatch League and Coca-Cola, what would you go for, Custer?
Oh, I don't know. See, the weird thing is, for me, that's Christmas. No, well, summer is Christmas, so I would draw Christmas. I go to the beach during Christmas, and I celebrate during Christmas for summer.
That's just wrong. That is just wrong. I'm sorry. I'm coming at this from a Northern Hemisphere bias, but that is just simply wrong. All right, anyway, while that has absolutely boggled my mind, let's take a look at the Reinhardt rankings with IBM Watson, because we've been talking a little bit about this Reinhardt matchup, and you won't see Changsik on here, but you will see Sado, who ranks at 6th place entering this week when it comes to Reinhardt rankings.
Yeah, and that's interesting because we haven't really seen Sado pick up the Reinhardt much in this match so far, and they're heavily leaning towards the Winston. I actually agree with that style of playing. I think the Reinhardt on some maps other than like Control just really struggles to get anything done, and as we move over to Route 66 as well, I don't see Sado picking up the Reinhardt. We saw the San Francisco Shock try to play that Reinhardt brawl style, and they almost got full held by London of all teams as well. So I want to see Toronto stick to what's working, stick on that Winston, and Changsik, are they going to try and pick up the Winston? Would you try and pick up the Winston again, Josh? Because they just got full held on Eichenwald, and it didn't look great.
It didn't look pretty by any means, did it? But I guess the question is it better to play a style that works for your team, even though it doesn't suit the map? And the map here is Route 66, you're right, it doesn't suit Reinhardt. Or is it better to play to the map, to the meta? And that, I think, the question differs for teams, honestly. If some teams that have a crazy preference for one comp and just a feel for it can play that stuff anywhere. We've seen Dallas Fuel, for example, just boggle the meta and play their comp on every map, no matter what, and they find ways of being able to deal with it. But when you're a team that's struggling like the Titans, I'm not sure you can play your style as effectively.
Yeah, Dallas Fuel are an exception to the rule, let's put it that way, because they just do whatever they want and succeed. I don't think Vancouver Titans have that luxury, and I am curious to see if they are just going to go down playing this Linksa Mei with Changsik on this Rhine. I don't think it is great, especially on this first point attack. I believe they are attacking first, I might be wrong about that, but how are they going to do it? As I said last map, I would love to see them do it, and they are actually going over to it. They're taking a page out of Boston's book and picking up this Torbjorn with Linksa and just bunkering more. Make it harder for Sado and Aspire to move around the map so that you can control them that little bit more.
For the Toronto Defiant, they have their pick of the litter. Whenever you have that spawn advantage and you're beginning on attack, you can choose whatever counter composition you want. Vancouver are going to try and hold really close here as well. You like this idea, Custer?
Yeah, I think this has been popularized over the last few years of just hold the spawn camp. There's no real reason not to, because you will get that positioning back on the first point on top of that gas station. So hold close, and we've seen some crazy holds. We've seen people move at 5 meters in the game before. Can Toronto Defiant find and break this bunker style from Vancouver Titans? That's the real question that I have going into this map, because Vancouver's sort of throwing their last-ditch effort at this one.
Aspire was scouting with a Sonic Arrow there, but now he's actually looking for a pick. Utilizing the Storm Arrows to try and break Fire's shield. Lynx's turret falls as well. And Hisu has moved over to the Sombra here as well. So, trying to make use of the fact that they're playing a little bit of a slower style. And Hisu's going to be able to build this up really quickly. I mean, if he just shoots Lynxa or Fried or Changsik, he's going to be able to build up the EMP lightning fast. And at that point, being able to start an ult cycle mitigates somewhat of what's going on here. And there's already been 45 seconds ticked off with very little progress.
Yeah, we just got like people eyeing each other off. They actually got a very fast nano and engage with Sado, but that is a great whip shot by Fire right there, pushing him back, and Sado gets absolutely nothing done. That is a great heads-up play by Fire, and now that's why you do this forward hold, right? Toronto Defiant have to use their nano to just get to the corner. They haven't even taken any positioning anywhere else, and now Vancouver Titans can utilize their bunker style.
getting absolutely controlled there. And Hisu not really building up to his EMP very quickly whatsoever. Not sure what he's up to in the midst of all of these team fights, just hacking health packs and applying a little bit of flanking off-angle damage. They seem like they're waiting for a bit of a pick before they want to engage into this incredibly bunker, turtle-y composition.
Yeah, they're kind of relying...
slowed down.
They're relying on Aspire to get this big pick, but it's just so hard, and Hisu's really struggling to get any space to charge this EMP because of that 12 turret. He's just not able to get that thing. A wild dragon engage out of nowhere, but the turret is living because it's not a human being and it doesn't get affected by dragon, which is nice for them. But yeah, not really getting too much out of that dragon, and we see Linksa throwing goops of something all over the map.
And when you slow down the pace like Toronto, you become more predictable as well. When Toronto go for their engages with the big nano boost engaged, the Titans are already ready. They have their plan in place, and that self-destruct play just completely annihilates Lastro as well. Continues to give the advantage over to the Titans and wastes Sansu J's rally. The positive factor though for Defiant is that their AMP is nearly online.
2.5 minutes later, though. That's not good enough if you're wanting to play this composition. He still needs to get this faster, and now he needs to get value out of it. Look at how spread out this Vancouver Titans team is playing. It's going to be hard to get value from this unless someone else opens the door.
A hack onto Rolf would be good to be able to deny that immortality field. Looks like that's what they're going for, but the immortality field was already thrown out. Nevertheless, Changsik incredibly weak. Bionade goes onto him. EMP catches, I think, on the 4 targets there as Changsik and Rolf hit the floor. Toronto are going to be able to push forwards. It seems like Toronto want to save these ultimates as well, though, not investing the nano boost for a cleanup. And this gives the Titans an opportunity to try and scrabble a little bit, slow down the payload, maybe get another recontest.
Are they going to make the same mistake they made on Eichenwald, though? Are they going to try and force an engage and cost them too much? This is a very hard re-engage. We have a Spy with the Dragon, Lastro with the Nano. They're going for it, and I don't agree with this one at all, Josh.
Here comes the Nano Boost and the Dragon trying to isolate targets. Rolf and Fire, they are so weak, but they have managed to get out of there. Rolf hacked though, and the Immortality Field has already been used, so Changsik is just left to die, contesting the objective. There's only 30 seconds left. Sado stunned up, but he is doing so much damage at the front line. And Dalton, he goes for the triple elimination with that Deadeye, but can't find anything on his big flank. I mean, it was a contest, for sure, and they got it into overtime, but Hisu now has EMP. Is that worthwhile?
And that's what I'm saying, right? As much as they already stalled 3 minutes on the first point. That's great. But now they gave up their rally, such a big ultimate against the EMP. Linksa has to switch back over to the 12, and now they're in a little bit of a scramble, right? They don't have that positioning. They're going to have to fight to get out this door. As much as they had the potential to get that fight, and Toronto used ults, they're still not in a great position if you're the Vancouver Titans.
Hisu with the EMP, you can just see him waiting here on the sideline. He's got all the information in the world. The only player he wouldn't catch is Fried. There we go.
Oh, there it
That's
is.
it. Translocator into the EMP. Bionade comes through afterwards as well. Great play by Lastro. Well synced up from the Toronto Defiant. And that's just it. You wipe the floor, you start the ult cycle, keep the momentum building.
And this is still a compounding effect of them trying to recontest on that first point. All of a sudden, they have to take a disadvantageous fight on this second point without any space, and Toronto wins just using an EMP. Now they have all their ultimates up once again. How do Vancouver Titans try and re-engage this? And are they going to make the same mistake again? Are they going to try and force an engage? No, they're going to think better of it. Thank you, the Vancouver Titans. Just stabilize. They are doing well in this mirror matchup and when they take an even fight, but they just haven't taken an even fight in half of this map.
That's probably the most important place to halt the momentum as well. And just, okay, give them checkpoint B. Because checkpoint C is the most difficult place to push. Very narrow corridors, very claustrophobic. And Toronto are running a Winston comp as well, so your Ryan should be able to get huge cleave damage. A nice shatter, kind of. It seems like the Toronto Defiant read it a little bit. It only caught onto Sado, and they've applied the nano boost now. So chunky, so tanky, and he's been able to isolate the back line. Rolf falls. He still has the Primal Rage available. What was that? Came out of absolutely nowhere. 99 health and a dream with Sado. Changsik looking for those Ryan pins to add to the bingo board. But all right, he's not going to be able to get them. Sado does die, though, in the midst of all of this. He had a Primal available, but you don't really want to pop it when the fight's already over.
Yeah, and Toronto don't have many ultimates to take this for, so if Vancouver Titans can get into this, if they can get the Dalton into space with the High Noon and Rolf to get that Amp Matrix down, they can consolidate here, and that's what they need to do. They need to get this left truck that you see right here. They need to get control of that, because if they leave Aspire up there, he's gonna get some kills, and you see them taking it right now.
Good work from Vancouver. Dalton popping his Deadeye, gets under pressure there by Sado, and they've decided to use the Primal Rage here as well, knocking people off the big old USA truck as they try and take some space. Yeah, you can't say that because you're not from there. Neither of us are. We shouldn't be chanting that by any means. The Vancouver Titans and the Toronto Defiant, neither of those teams are either, playing on foreign territory when it comes to Route 66. But nevertheless, the Vancouver Titans have actually managed to stabilize. The problem is that they're fighting now against the EMP and a Nano Boost.
This should be a pretty good spot for the Vancouver Titans to hold, though. They have the rally, they have the positioning, they have the tourbillon. Everything is going their way. Toronto Defiant needs to find a way to force the positioning of the Vancouver Titans away and push them into a corner so they can get a good engage. And here comes the Nano from Lastro onto Sado. Look at that cleave. He's putting out so much damage, followed up by the EMP, but the Rally of Fire is just putting out too much healing. No one's going down. Friedwiener eventually has to use his bomb, but that's fine. They've consolidated here on the top right. USA, they're getting the positioning, but Hisu gets a pick onto Fire, and this is just chaos right now. Everyone is everywhere.
Yeah, Lynx is going for a little bit of a flank there. Actually catches Lastro in the back lines, which is important, I think, because he was doing a good job at keeping everybody alive as they were contesting that left high ground. What a long engagement for Toronto. There is not much time left.
And that did cost Vancouver Titans a lot of ultimates, though. They don't have any of those defensives. They don't have any tank ultimates. They don't have anything to slow the Defiant down right now, other than the High Noon. We get an Echo switch at the last second against the Torb McCree. I would say ill-advised, but Hisu's a better player than I am. Let's see what he can do with this.
Yeah, there we go. Tri-shot coming out. Maybe just going for one big dive engagement. They still have rally armor to work with. Perhaps Lastro and Sado will get up to their ultimates in the middle of this fight. And Toronto are trying to take it slowly. There's a dive. Sado and Hisu trying to get onto somebody in that close corner. I think that was Dalton was the intended target, but a bit of a flash, and Sado gets punished completely. Good peel from FRD as Dalton goes back to the front lines, takes out Aspire as well. And this is the Titans holding strong. It didn't work for them on checkpoint A or B, but they were able to hold off here, and that's a nano-boosted Pilot Diva. You hate to see it as we get to desperation territory for Toronto Defiant. That is winnable. It is winnable.
This is a very hard point to push, though, and I think Vancouver Titans need to learn from the first half of that attack, right? You said it didn't work for them until the third point, but it actually worked great, in my opinion, on that first point. They just fell apart in the second point. They just need to be able to play their style and get set up in their way. And Toronto, you can tell that they're scrambling. That last fight against a Torbjorn McCree, they played a Hangzhou Echo composition with a dive. It's not really coming together for the Toronto, and you can tell them you can see them trying to work out what they want to do against this Torbjorn.
Yeah, I mean, the look on Michelle's face would say puzzled to me. Like they're dealing with a problem that they don't quite know how to solve. The thing is that Route 66 is very different once you get to Checkpoint C. It favors wildly different compositions. It's a little like Eichenwald in that way, actually, which we just saw being played, where you can get huge value out of Winston compositions up until the final area, where things narrow down a lot.
And the question becomes, are they going to try and play this Reinhardt composition? We talked about it at the start of this map of it's very hard to get value because it's almost impossible to get onto the high grounds. So they're essentially hoping that they can play slow enough and give Toronto that space, but then Toronto's going to get an easy dive. I think Hisu's going to get some fast EMPs. And if they're not going to play the Torbjorn again, how are they going to switch things up to get value against this composition from the Defiant? Like, Josh, do you see the Lynxer Sombra being able to outmatch Hisu right here?
No, not by any means. But also, Hisu's not particularly been that quick with his EMP charge so far in this match, and proactive in using it. Now, having said that, he is farming on defense right now. 40% within the first 20 seconds is absolutely record pace. So as long as he keeps this up, they're at a great opportunity. If they can manage to work off that and also change the poke that they're taking into Nano Boost charge, they could be in a good position right now. The problem is contesting the objective, in my opinion, because it just makes Sado and Michelle so vulnerable as they try and ping-pong on and off it. And Hisu now has really slowed down. It's going to be the Nano, the first tool they have available.
Yeah, Linksa switches back over to that Torbjorn to slow Hisu down, and you can see how low Sato and Michelle are getting. They're just relying on this nano boost from Lashro. What are they going to do with this on Sato? They need to get an effective dive, and it should be easy. They're all standing in a small room. It's go time. Why aren't they going?
Hisu already dies, beamed down. They need to contest this objective, but now they're 5v6. The longer they wait, the worse it becomes. Here goes the nano onto Sato, deep into the back, pressuring down Dalton. Immortality field already removed from it. That's a pulse bomb. Aspire coming up big once more. He's always there in the pressured moments for them. Such a core player recently for the Toronto Defiant, as Sato didn't really find too much, but the tankiness of the Vancouver Titans continues to cause issues as Aspire comes back in to finish off Changsik. They have stabilized, and they do have an EMP to rely on, but that was close.
That was great by the Vancouver Titans getting that space, and I'm glad the Toronto Defiant didn't listen to me and they waited that little bit longer to get that better advantage, and then Aspire gets that opportunity to come up big. But as you said, Aspire goes down, we were singing his praises. That's a caster curse right there, but Hisu with the EMP, they need to go with this. This needs to be the game-changing thing in a 6v5.
You want to see Hisu maybe EMP and then Translocator away to be able to avoid the instant death that can often come. Dalton's using his Deadeye to be able to zone people away. The great thing about Route 66 is you can contest from the high ground without having to get anywhere near the objective. There's an EMP, catches onto 5 people, Bionade straight afterwards to be able to take down Changsik. And even though Aspire dies early on in the fight as well, I think they probably have enough damage here. They're going up against a rally. They're going to have to use some ultimates of their own as well. This is going to be a large engagement. Another big Bionade coming out from Lastro. The back-to-back Bionades causing havoc within the Vancouver Titans lines. Is everyone ready for this FRD self-destruct? They
Another
are,
one!
But it slows
How
things
does he keep getting away with it? Lastro was just putting in so much work with these Bionades, just slowing the aggression from the Vancouver Titans down, just whittling them down as the respawners come through. Toronto only has this Diva Bomb left though. They need to try to get the touch going, and they need to find a way to get value with Michelle's bomb. They're playing so slowly, and Vancouver Titans just aren't punishing it. They're just stuck on the point. Shadow goes wild. Here comes the Diva Bomb from Michelle. It has to be big. There needs to be a follow-up. There isn't one right here for them right now. And another big Bionade from Lastro on the roof. Forces out the Immortality field. There's a lot of damage going out here, but they're still holding onto the cart just here. He's had another EMP right here.
This is ridiculous! How have there been 2 EMPs in the same team fight? Look at this flank from Dalton as well, trying to save things as the Toronto Defiant push things forward. The Vancouver Titans, they had all of the opportunities in the world to be able to win this fight, but they just couldn't find a pick. They were surviving, sure, but they let the ults come back online for the Defiant. How do you have a fight where you can't gain an advantage and you let a rally, a nano boost, and an EMP have another shot at closing things?
You're wondering if that's just a little bit too hesitant from the Vancouver Titans. They don't have that killer instinct. Recognizing they had that advantage, they need to go because, as you said, if they wait, the EMPs come up. But last fight, Aspire does it again. Yeah, gets Linksa down. The Overload stays in for just a second, but Aspire gets another pick, and we're in overtime right now. Changsik needs to go enormous with this Shatter. 9-man if he has to.
The bubble is about to break. He has an opportunity. Sato in Primal Rage form, but he can't do it. He walked forward instead of backwards, just scared about the overtime ticking. The wick was burning. EMP comes out as well, just catching on to Pilot Diva as FRD. He can't kill anybody with a mech. It doesn't matter. The bingo card's gone. Breadsticks all over the place. And it's the Toronto Defiant that come out with a clean 3-0. It made some sense, theoretically, that Vancouver Titans should have an opportunity to win this game, and it seemed likely in the first round of control and overall, honestly, in that first map. But it wasn't meant to be, Custer. Today, it's Toronto that wins the battle for Canada.
And you can see the issues. Vancouver are making improvements. They're playing the right heroes, and they're getting the edges. They're just struggling to execute when it really matters. They can't close out these team fights. They can't get these final captures. The same thing happened on Eichenwald that we just saw on Route 66. So disappointing from the Vancouver Titans once again. They are getting better. There are improvements there, but Toronto Defiant looking solid. The teamwork and the coordination really firing on all cylinders for that team right now.
They definitely looked better today than they did in their game against the Florida Mayhem. And now you could argue, okay, well, they were up against worse opposition, so of course they're going to look better. But I think some of the ways in which they played, the proactivity and their ability to grab win conditions and play for them rather than just sitting back and and waiting for stuff to happen to them. I was impressed by that aspect of Toronto, so I think they played a pretty good game today to be able to close out 3-0. Now, our player of the match presented by Xfinity. You know him, you've seen him with highlights all over the place when it's come to this match. It's got to be our rookie player once again. I mean, you know, we do try to give it to different people every now and then, but it's just so impressive watching him play. And perhaps some of this is because the expectations should be low for a player that comes in on a temporary contract from Contenders, but I'm blown away every time I watch.
He's so good, and he might not have had the highest stats in the game, but his impact kills in this match were unparalleled.
That one,
he got
for example.
That one exactly. That created the full hold onto Eichenwald. He also did it again on Route 66, getting that final pick. Look at these stats. Only 4.5 deaths per 10 minutes. Just doing an absolute great job of just being everywhere and coming up clutch when his team needs him. So big plays for Aspire. Big ups to him. Please someone throw a bag at him. A really big bag at him. I hope we get to see more of Aspire in the future.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. I mean, 13 final blows per 10 minutes as well is nothing to scoff at, especially when you're playing into a very tanky composition most of the time. The Vancouver Titans were playing kind of anti-tracer compositions, but they still managed to crack the code. And there you have it. That was a 3-0 sweep to end the day, and I've had a veritable smorgasbord of casting partners alongside me today, but it's time to go back. Yeah, it's time for Buster to leave and Custer to return, because we're going back to the desk after this for a game break where we're going to wrap everything up for the rest of the day. We'll see you after that break for more Overwatch League action.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Welcome to the Watchpoint Post Show presented by IBM. We're joined now by Sato from Toronto Defiant. Sato, congratulations on the win today. 사도 선수 오늘 승리 너무나 축하드립니다.
감사합니다.
You seem very tired. Are you just tired or are you sad? I don't know what it is. 지금 보니까 좀 이렇게 승리를 거두셨는데도 좀 이게 어떻게 별로 그렇게 좋아 보이지 않는 것 같은데 아닌가요? 그냥 피곤하신
이틀 연속 경기라 좀 피곤해서.
Alright, it's not that I'm sad or anything. You know, we had matches back to back, so I'm just super tired. Alright, Sato, I promise you this is gonna be really, really fast. We're just gonna go really fast with the questions. So starting with the first question, you know, with Winston and D.Va and Sombra, it seems like Toronto is adopting the aggressive playstyle that Hisu mentioned yesterday. What are the benefits of playing this divey composition, and what are some of the drawbacks? 자, 첫 번째 질문은 지금 보니까 이렇게 좀 윈스턴 디바 또 이렇게 솜브라로 어제 희수 선수가 말했다시피 조금 더 공격적인 플레이 스타일을 우리 토론토 선수들이 또 토론토 팀이 좀 많이 하시는 것 같은데 이런 공격적인 플레이 스타일의 좀 강점과 약점, 그러니까 단점이 있다면 뭐가 있을까요?
강점으로는 솜브라 리퍼 약간 이런 조합에서 픽 몇 개만 바꾸고도 여러 조합들 상대로 할만하다는 거고, 단점은 좀 오늘 밴쿠버가 한 조합, 저런 조합 상대로 저희가 못하면은 질 수가 있다는 거, 그런 거밖에 없는 것 같아요.
Right, well, for the benefits, of course, you know, with this divey sort of aggressive composition, you could sort of switch out a couple of the heroes, such as, you know, like you could take out Sombra, you could take out Reaper and put in other heroes, and this, you could still go along with the same aggressive playstyle. And of course, the weakness is, like we saw today, those compositions that are sort of hard to fight off against, like what Vancouver had. If you're going against those type of compositions, it is sort of difficult to make it work. All right, question number 2 for you is, you've been, you know, in today's match specifically, you've been popping off on Winston, and I sort of just want to ask, how do you play Winston in the current meta compared to the previous ones? Are there any difference in how you sort of mechanically play Winston as a Winston player? 두 번째 질문은 조금 더 윈스턴에 대해서 여쭤보고 싶은데, 아무래도 이제 윈스턴을 자주 이렇게 애용하시는 선수시다 보니까 이번 지금 현재 메타에서 또 현재 지금 서머 쇼다운에서의 윈스턴을 플레이하는 것과 저번 예전 메타들에서의 윈스턴과 좀 다른 점이 있다면, 이렇게 플레이 스타일에 좀 이렇게 좀 다른 점이 있나요?
모든 조합 상대로 다 다르긴 한데, 지금은 약간 밴쿠버 같은 조합, 저런 조합들 많이 나와서 저런 조합 상대로는 저희가 파악 잘하고 나노턴이나 이럴 때 못 이겨야 되는 게 큰 것 같아요.
Right, so it really depends on, you know, in composition, you know, it really depends on what the enemy team is using, like, and in every situation as a Winston player, it's really difficult to say how you should play this. But for example, for today's match against the Vancouver Titans, the composition that they were using, for those types, if we are going aggressive onto those type of compositions, we really have to have really good communications, and we really have to sort of focus down on certain heroes and get those picks and sort of solidify the team fights in order for us to take the victory. All right, Sato, that is it for the interview. I hope that it wasn't too bad for you, and I hope you could get some rest, and good job. 자, 사도 선수 오늘 인터뷰 여기까지 하겠고요. 가서 푹 쉬시길 바라겠습니다.
감사합니다.
All right, thank you so much. Let's head back to the desk.
Thank you so much, Danny. Thank you, Sato. Congratulations, of course, to him and the entire team. And I love the way you ended this interview. I hope it wasn't too bad for you. That's how I usually end every interaction I have with someone else. Like, I hope this wasn't. I hope this was not.
He seemed really tired. He
seemed upset and tired.
Yeah.
But hey, you did it. You stuck through it. So thank you once more for picking the brain of our players. I know it can be tough at times. Speaking of tough, yeah, Vancouver Titans, they had a bit of a rough time in our Battle of Toronto. There we go, we have it already. Battle of Canada. Toronto made it quick. And, you know, they were the only ones really battling. I felt like Vancouver Titans just kind of rolled over and let it happen. So, what do we want to talk about here? What did we learn about either team?
I mean, I was pretty proud of my casting performance, but then this guy comes
is that our match?
starts speed running, being competitive and all in the cast. I mean, this was a really fast series, and you know, good job, Costa. You know,
thank you.
Handshakes all around. you know?
Let's get rid of the middleman. Let's overrun Josh and Bren, and then we'll cast together, Johnny. How's that sound? Me and
Oh
you.
yeah, absolutely. Let's conquer the casting as well, and then we'll make our way throughout all of esports and just take over booths everywhere.
We can invent
Well,
esports,
now
Johnny.
you
Me and
revealed
you
your
together.
master plan.
Yes.
That's not. You,
Yeah.
should, you can't just reveal.
I know a
your,
guy.
your big and evil plan.
Do you want to join us, though? You want to join us?
Yeah.
Dan?
I already conquered all of esports. I've been in this for 13 years. I've done it all. Like you young shots, go ahead and take a look at
I
things.
still-
Enjoy.
I don't think I'm not ready yet, so I'll take my time.
Not ready?
I need
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
not ready.
I need
when
more
your power
experience.
level is
I'm a little
increased,
baby.
Danny, we'll come around.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
So, well, now we have a clear set road for all of us. That's great. Love to have goals. Love to have
The match was
something
good, by
for
the way.
Future.
Yeah, the match was-
True. Yeah, no,
It was great,
You
it was
might have
great.
seen some
Yeah.
of it. Let's talk about the second match today. That was 3-0 sweep for the Uprising, of course. Almost forgot about that. Yeah, they did need 4 maps to get it done, but it just looked like the Mayhem never really were in control, and they do seem to struggle so far in the Summer Showdown.
Yeah, it was interesting seeing the Florida Mayhem just get hard counter-stratted by the Boston Uprising. And you heard it from Valentine. They knew if they could shut down Yaki on that Tracer and they could force them away from this Winston Tracer, it was going to be really hard for them to do anything. And that's exactly what happened. There was a draw there on Kings Row, and it was a very competitive series. But at the end of the day, Florida look a little bit lost right now in the Summer Showdown.
Yeah, they do, and they need to figure something out. I mean, they've tried out checkmate here, not in this matchup, but the one prior this weekend. Trying to get
Can't
something
let it
going
go.
for themselves. You can't let it go. No, but yes, I know it's a meme, but like they're trying out different styles. Like even in this matchup, so to add to that point, like they were playing Wrecking Ball, they were playing Reinhardt, they were playing Winston, just changing things up. Over and over again, and it was a competitive series, like Costa said. But this is Florida Mayhem. I mean, based on their performance last year and the capabilities of this roster, we expect them to compete for the knockout stage over and over again, every stage. And now, you take a pretty disappointing 3-0 loss there to the Boston Uprising, who did play well. They executed their strategy very well, but this is a Florida Mayhem team that should at least have taken some of these maps. They couldn't close them out. They had a golden opportunity on Kings Row. They could have arguably done it on Junkertown as well. Here we went to overtime and was guy in the streets. It was a very competitive matchup, but Florida Mayhem, this is a roster that has the caliber required to close some of these maps out. And honestly, perhaps go to a game 5, etc. Instead, yes, it was 4 maps, but Boston Uprising on the scorecard is a 3-0.
Yeah, and I mean they did do it not just on the back of like great team performance. It was a lot of standout individual performances coming out from the Boston Uprising, which really impressed me. So I want to see more of that moving into the second half of our Summer Showdown. Now, our first match of the day looked like it's going to be a quick one for the Gladiators. They were absolutely in control. However, then somehow Paris came back from the brink for our second reverse sweep of the season. That's right. That was just really, really well played from Paris Eternal. There were a lot of standout moments, a lot of standout players.
Yeah, this was a really interesting one because, as you said, it looked like Gladiators had complete control over this series. They were playing a lot of interesting things with like Genji Doomfist from time to time, very heavily still relying on that Winston Ana. But somewhere along the line, Paris just worked it out. They started playing this Torp style that we know from them, and they started playing with confidence, and they just started to take over. Especially when it all started on that Temple of Anubis, right? When the Gladiators couldn't get anything, Paris Eternal got that momentum. They started going forward, and they started taking over the series, and Gladiators just didn't have an answer. So absolutely massive props to the Paris Eternal. They are now 5-5. They're actually having a great season, and they're looking forward into the playoffs because they are actually a very good team, and if they can upset teams like the Gladiators, everyone should be afraid to play this team.
Yeah, and the way they did it as well was really spectacular. There's actually a clip circulating on the interwebs, of course, actually a clip of Gramez, head coach of the Paris Eternal, who did rally the troops in halftime. He made a speech. He was talking about how the LA Gladiators, this is a mighty franchise. This is a fantastic roster. They're all really good at Overwatch, but we shouldn't be afraid of them. We should go out there, make plays, don't care about who we're playing against. This is a great Paris Eternal roster. be confident in yourselves and be able to make some of these plays. And it seemed to have worked out. They came out of halftime, just as Costa said, and started playing with confidence. They started executing good plays, only got on that tracer, kept getting picks over and over again, and really set the LA Gladiators back. So nice reverse sweep from them, second of the season, as Zoe said. Very impressive stuff from the Paris Colonel. This is a team that is continually growing each and every stage. So you gotta wonder, you know, where's the roof? Where's the roof? How far can they go in the Summer Showdown stage?
Well, we might find out very soon. Now, I do want to take a look at our predictions. Of course I do. Don't you also want to look at our predictions? Reinforce?
Of course.
I can't believe I'm just like, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you know, predictables and uprising. I don't care.
You fools.
Oh,
I mean, yeah.
It could be worse. You know, I could be alone in the bottom.
True.
That's true.
I mean, we're not in the bottom. No.
Hey, we're all twos.
We're all tied. Yeah. And just Costa
Everyone's a winner.
just over there.
Costa's kind of running away with this, so we gotta figure out how to catch up. But I feel like we need to play together here. I don't know.
True.
I don't
That's
think
the
we can
start
get
of
it done
every
otherwise.
betrayal. The start of every betrayal is we should work together. That's what I just heard, guys. You guys should be cutthroat. You guys should work against each other. I'm also just creating chaos because I'm at the top. You know, as long as I don't throw it in the playoffs like I did in the June Joust, I should be fine. Miles ahead right now.
Famous last words. I should be fine. Well, we're gonna take a very short break, but don't go anywhere. No, I mean it, because our most reputable and greatly lauded segment, Best of the Day, is coming right up, and you don't want to miss that.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
to the Watch Point Post Show presented by IBM. Now, guys, I do want to chat about the Canadian Clash. No, that's not a punk rock cover band. I'm talking about the battle for Canada we just got to witness. Now, Johnny, we saw the Defiant get quite a lot of value actually from their ults on Oasis today, and that's why part of that map made it into our alt economy presented by State Farm.
Yeah, it was a nice little play here from the Toronto Defiant. You know, you're trading ultimates with the Vancouver Titans. And Vancouver Titans, they are approaching the point here. They want to extract some kind of values from their ult bank. You can see they got 4 up and running. But the Toronto Defiant themselves, they're smart about how the way they're using it. Yes, Maywall comes out. Mitchell, he eats Linkster's Blizzard. And from there on out, you can utilize this Maywall to block out the Vancouver Titans. You can drop the Blizzard, freeze them down. Earth Shatter comes down from Sado as well. Really a cherry on top there to secure the teamfight win. And you can see the value that Toronto Defiant are getting from these ultimates. They have a clear plan, a clear goal. They execute it beautifully. Vancouver Titans, they have a Blizzard eaten. It's not really what you want if you're a Titans fan here. It's not really what you want if you want the breadsticks. They aren't able to get that value. But great play from the Toronto Defiant. I really enjoyed this little play from them. And also, I mean, Canadian Clash is probably the worst punk rock band I've ever heard because they like hug each other all the time. They're too nice. A Canadian Clash, they're too nice, Zoe.
So what would it be then? Like an R&B band? Like,
yeah, it's a civil war, as in like you're being civil amongst you.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Kind of works.
You know, we need Canadians. We're not Canadians. We don't know. We need them to actually tell us how it is. No. But I feel like Canadian Clash is not really is. You know, you know, maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe it's a perfect punk rock band in Canada.
We don't know exactly, and we can leave it at that. There's many things we don't know, but what we do know is what our favorite things are, and those make it into our best of the day at the end of our show. Always my favorite segment to look forward to. So I'm just gonna start it right off, you know, because why not? I can. I'm the host. I can literally just make that decision. I'm coming in with actually probably the best of the day. You know what's coming. Come on,
Oh, yeah.
You know what's coming. But that's right. Me
What is
changing
it?
my prediction.
Oh, that okay.
There we go.
I feel like I should
You
get
can take
some
partial
credit
credit.
for this. Partial
Yeah.
credit? Okay, I'm partially best of the day. That's awesome. Well,
Okay. Wait, should I get best of the day because I like teased you into doing it? I suggested you to go for more upsets.
You did not.
Yes, I did.
Tease me into doing it.
I was
No,
like,
this
why
was
don't you
all
go for
me
the
and
upsets?
Costa. I baited Costa into changing, and then by baiting him, I kind of baited myself. And when he then suggested it, it was a game of chicken, and I feel massive right now.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. All right.
That jacket
I mean,
is
I'm
about
just-
to crack, so I gotta.
I'm just kind of salty. I'm just kind of angry.
What happened to your
I
brain
don't
though? It's like
Yeah, it got cut off. Like, that's a moneymaker. You can't cut that one off, please. Gotta be careful with this one. Well, until I'm lost again, I'm actually gonna stay this size.
I'm kind of frightened of giants.
Why didn't you guys
like?
if I'm
Should've
first,
made them
that
smaller
means,
too at the
does that
same
mean I
time,
go to
just
like
so I feel-
here? Because I'm first?
Oh yeah,
I
I'll,
go further forward?
I should have done Boston.
Hello.
Why didn't I choose
What?
Boston?
Now you guys are getting up
Danny.
close and personal with Costa.
Danny, why don't you ever bait me? Like we could have.
Johnny, why did you bait me? Guys, why did you guys bait me harder? I know you guys baited me, but I didn't fall for it. But you guys should have done it harder so I could have
what?
joined you guys.
We
So
couldn't
we
have
would've
baited
followed
any
you.
harder. We literally like threw a log in the water. If you don't
That's
catch
true.
that one, that's kind of funny.
I also think
Alright.
at the end of it, I was like, anyone else want to come? And no, and you said no, Danny.
Yeah.
So we did ask you. So
And not even asked.
you-
Right before
you
the
guys
game,
should've
I asked
did it-
again,
you guys should've
anyone
tried
else
it
want to
harder.
change your decision? I literally asked you right before the match again as well. I did ask if
should've asked
anyone
me
else
again.
wants to jump ship.
All right, well, I think we had enough talk. All right, let's go on to the best of the
Did
day.
we?
Mine's actually pretty simple and crispy. It's Kevster on Genji. Oh, hey, that kind of rhymes. Kevster on Genji.
Kevster on Genji does
Deflecting
not rhyme.
Oni God's Deadeye. Yeah. Woo! Look at that.
Oh.
Yeah. Boom. Bam. Ping. And he
Swedish
dies.
Dynamite.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
love that.
Ooh.
Best
Did he
of
just-
the day.
That was
I need to see
clean.
that again.
Yeah, it was clean. Clean and crispy.
No one is. Oh,
And Sweden beats Norway once more. Love to see it.
Yeah.
history repeats.
Yeah,
The
Oni
reaction
God's
from Oni
face,
God is
yeah.
what I really like though. He's literally an
was
anime
scratching his
character.
head?
Like like how does a real human
like,
being actually do that? That's a real
People
reaction?
do that.
It's like,
You don't do
oh,
that.
scratchy head. Readjust my glasses.
Do I not do that?
Yeah. I'm with Simon.
That's
on this
so
one. I'm with Simon.
anime, for real.
Yeah. Well, talking about anime, let me talk about the side character of another anime. Let me talk about not your Mr. X's, but we're talking about the Torp turret coming in from Valentine, because it could be the protagonist of this entire Overwatch League season.
character.
He is a man's best friend. I think Valentine realized that the best way to get success is to just keep the turret up. He's literally just hitting the turret over and over again. He's not even shooting anything. He's just whacking it, and it's doing all the work. Look at that. He's getting all the kills. So, you know, I respect it. Very rarely people just let their turrets die, but Valentine believes in his turret. So, love to see it.
Question.
How many?
Is the lower third and not to diamonds are a girl's best friend?
No, it's relevant to a
it's not
dog.
a dog.
Or like a dog?
Yeah, it's a
Oh.
so
man's
it's like
best friend.
he's like hitting it, like he's patting the dog, like good boy, keep shooting at the Lucio, good job, and then he's getting kills, right? See, man's best friend.
Okay, I see.
Torp's best friend.
Cute.
Don't bring out the hammer when you pet your pets. Don't do that. That's not
Yeah,
good
don't
advice.
pet your
Pet
pets.
it with the hammer.
It's not what I
No,
said.
don't. No.
No, it's a good warning. I think that's good to throw that in there. We don't want to
Yeah,
be liable
PSA.
for any damage done to your turrets or pets.
Now, giving scratchies to pets, I do recommend, because they do love that. And if you
Yeah.
scratch pets, you're a fan. I'm a fan of you. So please keep, petting your dogs and your cats and any animals you have. We love pets, right?
Scratch. Oh, we
Yeah,
do.
we're
Yeah.
very
Yeah, of
pet
course.
friendly here at the Overwatch League.
That's my best of the day. Not really.
Pet?
My best of the day. My best of the day
No,
is
I-
playing a game of hide and seek and getting busted doing so. Check your corners, all right? I've been, capitalized on many times by a Reinhardt. But here instead, we have I'm37 doing the dirty work, saying, hello there, what's going on around here? Yaki is trying to pull some magic tricks out of the bag around this corner, and he gets caught red-handed, trying to pickpocket the Boston Uprising from a map win here. But nope, can't have that. I'm37 peeking around the corner, hitting some shots. Love to see it, right?
Would it be pink-handed because he's wearing a pink skin instead of red-handed?
Don't push your
Ooh.
luck with me.
Does that?
I mean, it's pretty good. Why you hate him?
I don't know.
Spewing
I'm
facts.
just kind of upset because there's 3
kind
points
of
ahead of me in the
big hunter.
standings.
I understand. That's fair.
Step it up.
One day. I mean,
Red
it's not over yet. This is just the first week of our third tournament cycle. There is still some way to go. Just got to make bold predictions like Costa and I did today because we're
I mean,
geniuses. I don't
Knowing
wanna go,
Costa's
I
player
don't like
history,
that,
I mean,
but-
he usually falls apart in the playoffs, so that's when I'm kept up.
Ooh.
That hurt.
Rough. No. I
In my
gotta break you
defense-
guys up immediately. No,
Okay.
you get no
Yeah, I
defense,
don't want- yeah.
and you stop it. Be nice to each other. I want to take a look at our standings. Just
Johnny's
you know,
being mean to
come
me.
every. I know. I heard.
I heard.
Well, no dessert for Johnny, but.
What?
Listen, there's consequences for actions such as losing games. You don't get points. What a transition. Wow.
Yeah, no.
Wow.
But these points are very important because they will determine whether or not you make it into the upcoming tournament, and you only get 4 matches per tournament cycle to actually qualify. So every map matters because you want to keep an eye on that map differential as well. So that's why I think it's so crucial if you have a week like this week where really good teams are dropping very crucial maps to bottom teams. That's going to come back to haunt you. It's not a long tournament cycle, guys.
Boston, Toronto,
Toronto.
Paris Eternal. All 2-0.
Yeah.
I don't
we
think
all
anybody predicted this. Yeah. Florida Mayhem 0-2. Gladiators and Shock 1-1. I don't know what is going on right now, but hey, I'm about it. Lower ranked teams are really starting to improve, so big props to them.
Yeah, and I did listen.
It's gonna be
to you,
interesting.
so it's important the map differential for Shock and Gladiators. You can't hover around 0 map differential. That it's gonna be important come knockout. I listen to you, Zoe. I always do.
Thank you. Good. Danny, anything to add? Who do you want to see rise to the top? Who do you think is gonna come in
I
and
don't know.
grab it all?
With the current trend, it'll be interesting to see Dallas Fuel how they're gonna perform, because all the high ranked teams are now on the bottom and the lower ranked teams are on the top, right? So with that logic, are they going to how are they going to do, huh? Right?
Huh? Well, we're going to find out because there are still quite a lot of teams which haven't even played. I'm so interested to see what they're going to bring to the table, what they took away from that first week, because I do think it's actually a little bit of a boon if you don't have to play in the first week of a new tournament cycle, which actually includes a hero pool or the lack of, because you get to scout a lot. You have plenty of time to figure it out. So yeah, you know, scheduling is everything. That does play into it all as well. But we are done with week 1 of the Summer Showdown. I enjoyed it, guys. Thank you so much for all the good times we had here on the desk.
Thank you, Zoe.
Good times. Good
Thank
times.
you, Zoe.
You're welcome, guys. Wonderful. I guess that's an outro. I don't know. Let's take it.
Wonderful.
Let's take that one. Why not? Thank you all for watching. We had a great time. We are back, of course, next week again with week number 2 of the Summer Showdown Qualifiers. It's going to be an interesting one. So stick around. Or don't, actually.
What? No.
See you next week.
Next week. Yeah, next week.
Next week.
Come back next week. Come back next
see you
week.
next
Get
week.
some rest. Come back.
I am ready.
Vòng lấy qua.